Hi, this is a very brief overview of the Guide to Critical Thinking website that we have developed under the Discussion Board Task Force for Student Success. The task force identified a model for critical thinking that we are offering students, and there are two parts to this model. One is the infographic, and in the infographic it offers 6 steps to critical thinking. Description of the issue or problem, and then it has questions related to it. Defining positions, and under defining positions, notice that there is popular opinion or common assumptions, and then there's expert opinions and positions. Evaluating evidence, putting it all together and thinking about it and looking for arguments to refute and support different positions. At that point, we go to comparison of positions. And then finally, after withholding judgment, now the student is ready to make a stance and stand on a position. And this is where they would present that information. And finally, it never stops there. It goes on to further questions. What resources or ideas provide insight into the issue, and so forth. This is the model. And the other material that is offered to students is the Critical Thinking Guide. And this is merely a repeat of the infographic, but in text format, and it also provides a little more detail into each of these positions. We're very excited about it, and we're finding as we run the test that students are responding to the critical thinking feedback, announcements, and badges that we're giving them, and we're actually seeing a difference in the classroom. I'm going to show you now, as a participant in the study, how we implement the materials in the classroom. So we've created announcements, and in the announcements they're broken out into 5 weeks. And in the first week, and so each week has a different announcement related to each of the steps of critical thinking. In the first week, the announcements, we start with what is critical thinking, an overview, and then access to the materials. And then we introduce them to step 1, describing the issue. And there is some guidance and support information related to that, and again, access to the links. In week 2, we have defining positions. Week 3, evaluating evidence. Week 4, comparing positions. And finally, in week 5, we've combined personal position with conclusions and further questions. Now, you'll notice these announcements not only in the announcements section, but also in a first posting in each of your weeks in the first discussion board. Simply because it's in the first board doesn't mean that it doesn't apply across all boards in your classroom for each week. So the students have access to the announcements and the prompts week by week. Now, one question that comes up is, do we focus on just that step in that week, or are we allowed to, or can we go into other steps when we award badges and when we provide critical thinking feedback? And the answer to that is yes, you're more than welcome to integrate all the critical thinking steps in each board. And we are just parsing out the steps just to make it easier for students to digest. But you certainly can bring in other critical thinking awards and badges into the every board. But also it makes it easier on you if you want to just simply focus on the step of the week, so to speak. So whatever works for you is absolutely fine. So I'm going to show you the badges now, and this is your tool for feedback, and it also makes it fun and engaging. Each step has a badge and then potential feedback that you might want to use for that badge. Often there's more than one item of potential feedback, and you can use more than one or just the one that seems to really pertain. Now I'll show you how this works, and here's all the badges, and I want to show you that there's one badge that is the all-around critical thinker, and this is where they demonstrate at least 2 or 3 skills, and they do a very nice job of it, and they've created a robust, thoughtful posting. So now here we go with implementing it in the classroom. I'm going to go to one of my discussion boards, and what I've done, what we recommend that you do, is when you find a posting that merits critical thinking, what I do is create a posting that in the subject line says critical thinking badge awarded to, and then the student's name. And we find that adding their name in there is motivating, and also that changing the subject line to, critical thinking badge awarded or whatever really makes a difference in it catching students' eyes. So if I were to go in and collapse all, I can see the critical thinking badges that have been awarded and also who received them. So in some discussion boards there's just a couple postings of critical thinking badge, and some there's more. In my experience, I'm finding that but I only have, I've only got 12 students, but I'm finding that 2, 3, 4 is typical. But you're more than welcome to be generous with these badges. The important thing is to motivate students to use these skills. So when I create a response to a student, say for example that I want to give this student a critical thinking badge. So I read their posting, and then I go ahead and say respond. And now I go ahead and change the subject line to all caps, critical thinking badge, and then I put the student's name. Excuse me, I'm working around a microphone here. Okay, so now I'm ready to go ahead and put the badge in. The way that I do that is I go to the website, the critical thinking website, and typically I will have this website open in a different window so that I can go back and forth easily between the two windows. So I'll actually open it up as a separate browser. So I believe that this student did a really great job of defining positions. I'm going to go ahead and highlight all the feedback and the badge. I simply click and drag from the left to from the right into the left over the picture, so that I've highlighted that entire row. And I right click and I say copy, and now I go to where I want it to post that, and I right click and I say paste. That should work for you in all browsers. If you try doing something like clicking on the image and then copy pasting, that doesn't work. We have found. So the best way to do it is start from the right, move over all the material over to the left, the image highlights, right click, copy, right click, copy, and then back over to the posting and paste, and that should work for you. And then from that point I clean out the feedback that doesn't apply, and you're welcome to modify the feedback in any way you want. And then I also like to provide a response to the student, something like, you did a great job of critical thinking, and then engage the students as you normally would with any response to a student. And then once you post the response, there it is. And it's pretty much as simple as that. We find that it does take a little time to review the students' postings with the filter of critical thinking on top of what you're also doing. But one of the things that I would like to pose is that this gives you a way of responding to students to help deepen their reflection. Sometimes I find I'm at a loss as to I don't know how to get this student to go deeper. And what I find is that these steps are very helpful to me in encouraging the next step to critical thinking, and encouraging them to go deeper and into the research and into synthesizing the information and putting it together in their own minds. So I find these tools are very helpful for me when working with students. We ask you to please do use the badges, and don't be afraid to use them. We hope you use several incidents each week, And we hope that you find that the discussion deepens for you as the class continues on. At the end of the class, there will be a survey that we'll ask you to send out to students, and we ask you to really urge them to complete the survey, and so that that information can be used in our analysis of these tools. Thank you so much. We're very grateful that you're willing to participate in this study, and we're available at any point in any time, so just let us know. Thank you so much.